All right, everyone, get ready, because today we are going deep into the world of cat adoption.
Ooh.
We're going to be exploring the cat adoption guide.
Awesome.
Think of it like a crash course on everything.
Love it.
From like picking out the right litter box to like decoding those weird meows.
That's a good one.
So, what I found really interesting about this guide is it like starts out by telling you to take a good look at your lifestyle
Right.
before you even think about getting a cat.
Totally. It's all about responsible pet ownership right from the start.
You know, I've been guilty of that before.
Oh, yeah.
Like getting so excited by like kitten pictures online.
Oh, for sure.
And not really thinking about the long-term commitment.
Oh, yeah. I've been there.
So what does this like lifestyle check actually like involve?
Well, it's not just about having enough space for a cat. It's about, honestly, like figuring out if you have enough time and energy to take care of them every day.
Yeah.
We're talking about like feeding them, cleaning litter boxes, playing with them, you know, giving them mental stimulation.
Right.
It's like they need more than just cuddles, you know? They're not just like a cute little thing you can ignore. Like they're tiny furry roommates with very specific needs.
Speaking of needs, the guide also has a pretty comprehensive checklist of like all the essential items you need before you even get your cat.
Yeah, it's like a cat starter kit.
Totally like a starter pack.
Yeah.
So let's talk shopping then.
Okay, let's do it.
What are some of the things that are like must-haves?
Well, first off, food and water bowls.
Okay.
But not just any bowls. The guide recommends like stainless steel or ceramic. Because they're easier to clean.
Okay.
And they won't like harbor bacteria like some plastic bowls can.
Oh, right.
And definitely non-slip. Nobody wants a water bowl rodeo.
I can only imagine the mess.
Right.
What about the litter box situation?
Yeah.
I remember like my friend's cat was super picky about his litter.
Oh, yeah. Litter box woes are real.
Yeah?
So the guide suggests a spacious open-top box.
Okay.
Because cats like to see what's going on around them while they're doing their business.
Yeah.
And when it comes to litter, clumping litter is usually the way to go for odor control.
Okay, clumping litter, got it. What about those tiny claws? Yes. I've heard some horror stories about cats and furniture.
So scratching posts are a must-have. They'll save your furniture. They give your cat an outlet for their scratching instincts.
Okay.
And it helps keep their claws healthy.
So it's like a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
What about travel arrangements?
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing a cardboard box is not going to cut it for vet visits.
No, definitely not. You need a sturdy carrier for safe transportation.
Right.
And while we're on the topic of essentials, don't forget grooming tools, brushes, nail clippers, and even cat shampoo.
Wait, cat shampoo?
Yeah.
I thought cats were like really good at cleaning themselves.
They're pretty good at grooming themselves, but sometimes they need a little help.
Right.
Especially long-haired breeds.
Okay.
And of course, no cat starter kit is complete without toys.
Oh, yes. The fun stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of toys does the guide recommend?
A variety is important.
Okay.
Interactive toys like feather wands are great for bonding.
Okay.
And encouraging exercise. And then you got your solo play toys like balls and puzzle feeders.
Yeah.
Which can keep your cat entertained while you're busy.
Makes sense.
And of course, we can't forget catnip.
Oh, yeah. Catnip is always a good idea.
Always.
Now, imagine you've got all your supplies.
Okay.
You've done your lifestyle check. You're ready to welcome your new cat home.
Excited.
I'm already picturing the welcome home party.
Okay.
Balloons, streamers, a gourmet tuna buffet.
Wow.
Maybe we should like take things a little slower though.
Yeah, maybe a gourmet tuna buffet is a bit much.
Yeah.
A gradual introduction to their new home is key.
Right.
Yeah. Like imagine you're just plugged from your home and dropped into a new place.
Yeah.
It would be pretty overwhelming.
For sure. So how do we help them adjust?
Well, the guide suggests starting with just one room, like a quiet bedroom or a spare room. Make sure it has all the essentials, food, water, a litter box, a comfy bed, and maybe a scratching post. Or just let them explore at their own pace. And try not to force any interaction.
Okay, so like create a little cat sanctuary.
Exactly.
So they can like de-stress.
Yeah.
And feel safe. I like it. But eventually they'll have to meet the rest of the family.
Right, of course.
Like, I can't keep them in the guest room forever.
Right. Gradual introductions are key.
Okay.
Start with like brief supervised encounters with other family members. Let the cat approach on their own terms.
Okay.
And if you have other pets, keep them separated at first.
Okay.
Maybe even exchange like blankets or toys.
Okay.
So they can get used to each other's scents.
That's a smart tip. It's like a little meet and greet.
Exactly.
Before the official introduction.
Right.
The guide also talks about
Yes.
common behavioral issues that cat owners might run into. You know, like the whole scratching furniture thing.
Ah, yes, the classic. So the guide really emphasizes that scratching is an instinct for cats. They do it to sharpen their claws, stretch their muscles, and even mark their territory.
So it's not just them being little rebels trying to ruin our furniture.
Not at all.
It's
all about redirecting that natural instinct to more appropriate outlets.
So like those scratching posts.
Exactly like the scratching post. You can even make the scratching post more appealing.
Cool.
By rubbing it with catnip. Or playing with a toy near it. And when your cat uses it, shower them with praise and treats. Or a favorite toy.
That's the positive reinforcement thing that we were talking about.
Exactly.
The yes-no system.
Yes-no system.
Cool.
So the no part of that is making the undesirable behavior less appealing. So if your cat is really determined to shred your sofa, you can try covering it with something they don't like sticky tape or aluminum foil. It's all about creating those associations. Scratching post equals good things. Sofa equals unpleasant sensations.
So we're like training them.
Exactly.
Without them even knowing it. Sneaky.
But what about other issues? Like what if your cat suddenly decides they don't like the litter box anymore?
The dreaded litter box avoidance.
Litter box avoidance.
Yeah, that could be a tricky one.
It can be tricky.
But the guide has some tips.
Right. It does. It does. So first rule out any medical issues. With a trip to the vet. Once you've got the all clear, you can start experimenting with different types of litter. Some cats prefer certain textures or scents. So it might take a little trial and error.
It's like us trying to find the perfect mattress.
Exactly.
Everyone has their preference.
For sure.
What about excessive meowing? My friend's cat meows nonstop. And she's like convinced he's trying to tell her something.
He probably is.
Really?
Yeah. Cats meow for all sorts of reasons. Hunger, boredom, loneliness, attention seeking. It's their way of communicating. So the guide encourages us to become like feline detectives.
Oh, I like that.
Pay attention to the context. To figure out what they're trying to tell us.
So if my cat is meowing like crazy around dinner time, he's probably hungry.
Most likely. And if they're meowing and staring at the window, they might just want to watch some birds. So the guide says it's important to give cats safe access to a window, whether that's a screened-in porch or a secure balcony. It's like giving them front row seats to nature's reality.
Surely.
So now I have to admit, this whole cat aggression thing kind of makes me nervous. Like, what if my sweet little kitty just turns into a terror? Well, it's a valid concern. But remember, aggression in cats is usually a response to something. It's not just random behavior.
So they don't just wake up and decide to be jerks?
Exactly. The guide actually outlines 4 different types of aggression.
I'm all ears.
So first we have fear aggression. This happens when a cat feels threatened or cornered. They might hiss, growl, or even swat to defend themselves. It's basically their fight or flight response.
So like if a stranger tried to pick them up without warning. What else?
Then there's pain-induced aggression, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like if you accidentally touch a sore spot, they might react.
Like if we have a headache and someone's annoying us. What's next?
Then we have territorial aggression, which is all about protecting their space. They might become aggressive towards other animals or people if they feel like their space is being invaded.
I can relate to that. What about the 4th type?
The 4th type is redirected aggression. And this one's interesting. It happens when a cat gets worked up by something they can't reach. Like a squirrel outside the window. They can't get to the squirrel. So they redirect that frustration
onto something else.
Exactly. So it's not personal. It's just misdirected energy.
So it's really important to understand these different types of aggression.
It is.
So we know how to respond to whatever's going on.
Exactly.
Now, before we move on, I think it's important to talk about cat healthcare.
Absolutely.
The guide goes into a lot of detail about that.
It does.
And it's something every cat owner needs to know.
For sure.
So it emphasizes a proactive approach. Starting with initial care. So what does that mean? Is it just making sure they have food and water?
It's a bit more involved than that. The guide recommends giving your new cat a bath. With anti-lice shampoo. As soon as you bring them home, a few days later, you'll need to apply medication for fleas, ticks, and other parasites.
So it's like a spa day. With some extra protection.
Exactly.
I like it. What else?
And just a little tip, Be careful not to get water in their ears.
Okay.
During bath time.
Right.
That can lead to infections.
Noted.
So,
what else is on the initial care checklist?
Deworming is another important step.
Okay.
The guide actually outlines a schedule for that.
Okay.
Starting as early like 3 to 6 weeks of age.
Wow, so young.
Yeah.
So multiple treatments in those first few weeks.
Right.
And then regular deworming every few months.
Exactly.
It's like a checkup for internal parasites.
Right.
Okay.
And speaking of checkups,
yeah,
vaccinations are super important.
Okay, I know they're important for us humans, but I don't know much about cat vaccinations.
Well,
did you break it down?
Sure. So the guy mentions both mandatory and desirable vaccinations.
Okay.
So mandatory vaccinations usually include rabies, which is required by law in many places.
Right, makes sense.
The first rabies shot is usually given around 12 weeks of age, followed by annual boosters.
So protecting both our cats and ourselves.
Exactly.
What about the other mandatory ones?
Those are usually given in a series, starting around 8 weeks of age. The specific diseases they cover might vary a bit depending on where you live, but they usually include panleukopenia, calicivirus, and feline viral rhinotracheitis.
Those sound serious.
They are.
What about the desirable ones?
Those are additional vaccines that your vet might recommend based on your cat's lifestyle or their exposure risk.
Right.
Like if your cat's going to be spending time outdoors, they might recommend a vaccine for feline leukemia.
They're tailoring the healthcare plan to their individual needs. The guide also talks about keeping a medical passport for your cat.
Yes.
What's that all about?
It's basically a record-keeping system for all their healthcare stuff, vaccinations, deworming, medication, any vet visits.
So like a little health journal.
Exactly.
For our furry friends.
Yeah, this helps make sure your cat gets the right care throughout their life.
This is all incredibly helpful information. Good. We've covered so much.
Yeah.
From setting up their space to understanding their behavior to making sure they're healthy.
It's amazing how much info is in this guide. And we're not even done yet.
Oh, really?
There's one more important topic to discuss.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
It's a topic that often sparks debate.
Okay.
Sterilization and neutering.
Sterilization and neutering. Yeah, that definitely gets people talking.
It does. It does.
So what's the guide's take on it?
Well, it presents a pretty strong argument in favor of spaying or neutering your cat.
Okay.
It highlights both the benefits for the cat and the benefits for, like, society as a whole.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
What are the benefits for the cat?
Well, for starters, it can really reduce their risk of certain cancers. Especially those related to their reproductive organs.
That makes sense.
And it can also help with some behavioral issues.
Like what kind?
Like spraying or aggression. Which are often driven by hormones.
So it's not just about preventing unwanted litters.
No, it's not.
It's also about their overall health.
Right. It's about improving their health and well-being.
I like that.
And on that note, the guide also mentions that sterilized cats tend to live longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they're healthier overall.
That's great. What about the benefits for society then?
Well, the biggest one is obviously preventing unwanted litters.
Right.
I mean, there are already so many cats in shelters and on the streets.
It's a good problem.
It is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And spaying or neutering really helps control the population and reduce the number of animals that are facing uncertain futures.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that being the responsible pet owner means thinking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's not just about your own pet. It's about all animals.
Totally.
And the guide also makes it clear that spaying or neutering is a really safe procedure.
Okay, good.
It's routine, and there are minimal risks.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole deep dive has given me a whole new perspective.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
On cat adoption.
Yeah.
We've covered so much of the practical stuff, like picking out supplies to, like, the more emotional stuff, like understanding their behavior and their health.
It's been a really fascinating journey.
It has.
And honestly, we've only just scratched the surface.
I love it.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a good foundation.
It has, for sure.
For welcoming a cat into your life.
I feel much more prepared now.
Good.
So if any of our listeners are feeling inspired to learn more, I highly recommend checking out the full cat adoption guide.
It's a great resource.
It's packed with so much information.
Yeah.
More than we could ever cover here.
And remember, even with all the preparation in the world, every cat is different, and every cat owner is going to face different joys and challenges.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I really believe that with patience, understanding, and a whole lot of love, anyone can have a really amazing relationship with their cat.
Said.